Thanks for setting up, my lover bear. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Greetings from Chiang Mai in Thailand, which has been my home for the past month. Pretty freaking sweet. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about money. Those cash dollar bills, people. This whole video started because one of my best friends, I was chatting to her recently and she said, Jess, can I ask you a really personal question? Can I ask how much money you saved up to go on your year-long round the world trip? And it just dawned on me that this is one of my best friends. This girl can ask me anything in the world, but she was nervous to ask me this question about money. This is the problem. When you're planning to go traveling, you have got so many questions, especially around the topic of money. How much should you have? How long should you save for? But it's one of those things that not a lot of people are talking about, and not a lot of people are giving you the straight facts. That's why we're making this video today. The problem is when it comes to talking about money and how much money you need to have saved for a trip like this, it differs hugely depending on who you are, where you want to go, etc, etc. So what I've done is I have broken it down into 5 parts. There are 5 questions that you guys need to answer if you want to figure out how much money you need to go on a trip like this. I've got all my questions written out here. I did a big brainstorm this morning and I'm ready to go. So the first question is, where do you want to go? The amount of money that you have is really going to differ depending on where you want to travel to. For example, there's a really big difference between traveling in Europe versus traveling in Asia. In Europe, you could be spending anywhere between 10 to 15 euros for lunch. In Asia, you're going to be spending €1 or less. So you really need to take that into consideration when you are planning your trip. Where do you want to go? You want to travel in South America? You want to travel in Europe? You want to travel in Asia? You want to travel in South Africa? Where do you want to go? You really need to bear this in mind. I'm from Dublin in Ireland, and the average cost of rent per month there right now, you're looking at roughly €800 to €2,000, depending on whether you're willing to share an apartment with somebody else or you want the whole apartment to yourself. Where we're living in Chiang Mai, we have got an apartment all to ourselves. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, crystal clean, completely modern. The apartment has a pool and a gym included in it, and it's costing us €368 per month, and I'm splitting that cost with my boyfriend Arwa. So yeah, very different depending on where you want to travel. Second question that you have to ask yourself is, who are you going to travel with? There's a few different options here. Number 1, you could be traveling solo. Number 2, you could be traveling with friends. And number 3, you could be traveling possibly as part of a couple. Your accommodation costs are going to change depending on which one you go with here. If you're traveling solo, chances are maybe you're going to want to stay in a hostel because that's the way to make the most amount of friends around the world. And it's also the cheapest. If you're traveling as part of a group or with your friends, again, you could go with hostels, or you might step it up a little bit and go with an Airbnb. Sometimes Airbnbs, if you're sharing them with other people, they can actually work out a lot cheaper than hostels. And then there's the option of traveling as part of a couple. For me, I was traveling solo for the first 3 months of my trip. So I was only staying in hostels by myself. When I was traveling solo in Brazil, the average price of a hostel was roughly 40 to 60 reals per night, which is kind of €12 to €15 per night. In a lot of different parts of Asia, the average price for a hostel is roughly €6, €7, €8. Again, big differences between South America and Asia. But as soon as I started traveling with my boyfriend, my accommodation shifted. I didn't really want to stay in hostels anymore because I wanted to have some romantic time with my man. So I started to stay in Airbnbs, and some other people are going to choose to stay in hotels. So question number 2 is, who are you traveling with and how does that impact your budget? Are you going for cheap hostels? Are you going moderate prices in Airbnbs, or are you going expensive in hotels? That is going to affect your budget hugely. Okay, question number 3. How long do you want to travel for, and are you going to work while you travel? I knew that I was going to travel for close to a year, if not more. And originally I didn't really want to work while I was traveling, so I saved up enough money to spend an entire year without working. Let me tell you guys exactly how much I saved up. I worked it out that in order to have a good lifestyle anywhere in the world, I would need roughly around 1,500 euros, okay? That would mean that I could live in Europe or South America or North America, have a decent standard of living, and probably have to cook my meals from home. In Asia, that would mean that I could have a superb standard of living and I could be going out, eating out every single night. There's a fly who's obsessed with my camera right now, so I apologize if you can see him. But I figured out that 1,500 euro was basically the mark that meant that I didn't have to work for the whole year and I could have a really good standard of living as well. If you want to work while you travel, you definitely do not need 1,500 euro. You probably need about 500 to 800 euro saved up to cover your cost of rent, and then your job can cover your food, your flights, the general things like going out, drinking, eating, whatever. The next question is, how long can you save the money for? Honestly, I've been planning this trip for the past 3 or 4 years. So I've been working and saving for the full 3 or 4 years to get to where I am right now. So I managed to save up 18,000 euros in order to take this trip. Some people don't have that amount of time. Some people only have 3 months to save up money. So you gotta be realistic with yourself. When do you wanna go take your trip? How long is the trip gonna be? And how much time do you have to start saving your money? If you can save money for 3 months, maybe you can take a 1-month trip. If you can save money for 6 months, maybe you can take a 3-month trip, and so on and so forth. You just gotta be realistic with yourself as to how long you can save the money for. Thank you, Mr. Plane, for interrupting. This is a constant battle in Chiang Mai, guys. This is a constant battle. Bye! Enjoy your trip! Okay, I'm just going to continue. The last question on your list is, what kind of traveler are you? Are you a budget backpacker kind of style traveler? Are you a luxury traveler? You like to stay in hotels, you like expensive things, you like to get massages, all that shit. Or are you a moderate traveler? So are you like in the middle of it all? I was a bit of a moderate traveler. I was a mixture between budget and luxury. I like a bit of both, you know what I mean? I like to stay in hostels and I like to stay in hotels sometimes. Very rarely, but I do. So I had to take that into consideration when I was making my budget of 18,000 euro for the full year of travel without having to work. And now the battery is flashing on my screen telling me I don't have much time. So let me round this shit up. I am a firm believer in printing stuff out, putting it on your wall, looking at it every single day so that you get in the mindset of saving that money, get in the mindset of going on that trip. So I've created a PDF document with the 5 questions listed on it and space for you to fill out your answers. And here's another freaking plane, are you kidding me? For God's sake. If you guys are interested in getting your hands on that document, all you have to do is send me a DM on Instagram with your email address and I will send it over to you. Print it out. This is the first step to go on your big trip, so get excited about it. By printing this document off and having your answers there, you know exactly how much money you're going to need to save before you go on your trip. One last tip that I have for you guys is there's a website called Expatistan. Expatistan. I'll put it in the link, or I'll put it in the description down below so you guys can click on it. I just found this website recently through a friend of mine, and it's actually a really good website because it shows you the cost of living in like every different city around the world, and you can compare it to your own city. So for example, I looked up the cost of living in Dublin versus the cost of living in Chiang Mai. Living in Dublin is 138% more expensive than living in Chiang Mai. To give you another example, Sao Paulo is 42% cheaper than living in Paris. It's a really cool website if you just want to do a bit of research on the cost of living in the destination that you want to go to. My God. But beware, if you're coming to Thailand, it is freaking hot, guys. It is freaking hot. This battery is still flashing at me right now, so I'm gonna go before the battery finishes up. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to hear what your answers are in the comments down below. Head over to my Instagram, I'll send you the document, and let me know, where do you want to go on your trip? How long are you planning on going for? Who are you traveling with? Are you gonna work while you're on the road? And what kind of traveler are you? Are you budget? Are you luxury? Are you a little bit in between like me? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys have any questions about traveling, how much money you think you're going to need, etc, etc, etc. I'm going to be responding to comments down in the box down below, so head down there.